board members, we have, I know, another, not a time certain, but we've had our RESA's representatives waiting for quite some time. We just finished agenda item 5. We've already done agenda item 6. So we're going to jump, if we can. And where is Deputy Jones? Is he in here with us, or he's probably coming right now? I guess I'm curious to say, do we want to take care of all of 11.1 right now? I don't want to. I don't like what we did with Representative DeFay, where we didn't get to really get into the meat of that agenda item. We had to just hear, then we got to come back. If we can take care of 11.1 in its entirety for the information with our RESA's representatives here, I think that would be more beneficial than trying to jump and come back. So let's just wait a second for Deputy Jones to get here so that we can do this appropriately. Yeah, my apologies, RESA representatives. We were waiting for Scott. That's why this is taking so long. I'm just kidding, Scott. Whenever I can give you a hard time, I tend to. So we're going to jump, Deputy Jones, to agenda item 11.1. So if you'll cue us up, and we'll get started.
Deputy Superintendent of Operations Scott Jones, I'd like to welcome the Regional Education Services Agency's representation. Once a year, we try to make sure that the RESAs have an opportunity to inform you, and especially where we have so many new board members. They are difference makers in the rural communities and the members of each one of the 4 that they'll get into. In the 10 years I've been here, and in comparable to other states, that's just it. They are a positive difference makers to our rural schools, charter school membership, small district schools. And this is their opportunity to present to you all the kinds of differences they're making. And then also by code, there is a line item that we have for the RESAs that we distribute the funding to them. So without further ado, Chair Hymas, if you'll recognize them and have them start the presentation, that's great.
Please, yeah. Just 2 of them? There's many.
There's 4, but they'll go in
Okay.
the order that they do too. So
Perfect, thank you. Please, and state your name and what you represent.
Good afternoon, respected members of the Utah State Board of Education. I'm Piper Riddle, Executive Director of Northeastern Utah Educational Services. Today I'm here to reintroduce the concept of Regional Education Service Agencies, or RESAs, in Utah. Established in 1969 through SB 3 Substitute 1, RESAs were created to support our 26 rural school districts, which are organized into 4 distinct RESAs. Who moves the slide? Is that you? No. I got it. Perfect. Next slide. Thank you. I'll do that. Okay. Each RESA is governed by a board of directors, which includes the district superintendents and charter schools in their respective regions. The leadership team of each RESA typically consists of an executive director, an office manager, a network engineer, and a technology trainer. Additional positions are added based on the specific needs of the school districts they serve. And you can see here the 4 RESAs in Utah, which are Northeastern Utah Educational Services, Southeast Education Service Center, Southwest Educational Development Center, and Central Utah Educational Services. Next slide. The primary purpose of RESAs is to assist school districts in providing cost-effective services and programs for students in rural Utah, ensuring they receive opportunities comparable to those in urban areas. RESAs achieve significant cost savings through pooled purchases and services, building economies of scale for our smaller schools and school districts. Next slide. The mission of RESAs is to identify needs and provide educational services that support student achievement. They aim to bridge gaps in services to meet the evolving needs of rural districts, ensuring equitable opportunities for all. The guiding principles of RESAs are that every student and teacher deserves opportunities to learn and be effective. RESAs focus on providing opportunities in early learning, effective educators and leaders, safe and healthy schools, and personalized teaching and learning. They continuously adapt, encourage, and seek out the needs of the local education agencies in their region. Next slide. We have introduced new indicators to measure the effectiveness of RESAs, including the number of professional learning hours provided, with a goal of 5,000 hours annually, the percentage of Apple completers in their third year receiving their licenses with a goal of 60%, the percentage of RESAs LEAs adopting the Center for Internet Safety Controls with a goal of 70%, and the percentage of local effort matched to the RESAs legislative allocation with a goal of 100% match. I'll turn the remaining time to my colleagues, our current board presidents, to further share information about each respective RESA.
Thank you, Mrs. Riddle.
Hey, can we interrupt for a question? Is that okay? Before you pass it off, you've got the hot mic. Yeah, Chair Carey, go ahead. Or actually, the committee report is over. He's now board member Carey.
Okay, barely. I have one question, and that would be, what are the current goals? Like it says that these are the new ones. Where were we at? Do you have those?
Do you mean baseline data? Because we worked with USBE staff to create new performance measures that you approved, I believe, in November board meeting.
I see. So
And
oh, go ahead. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. So these represent the new measures.
Understood. So there not be we may not have been tracking the number of Apple completers before.
Correct.
Okay, thank
We-
you.
We do have some of that information, but
No pun. It wouldn't be apples to apples, so don't worry
Okay.
about it. Okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
no, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's keep going.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Paul Sweat. I'm the superintendent in Wasatch County, beautiful Heber Valley. As I got up and was preparing to come down this morning, it was such a beautiful day. The sun was shining. I almost opted to saddle my horse. I've got a horse named School Business, and every once in a while, rather than making it into the office, I get on School Business and I go for a little ride. So if you ever call up to Wasatch and they tell you the superintendent's out on School Business, you'll have the inside track there. You'll know where I'm at. So I know many of you around the table. I appreciate being able to work with you over the years. I've spent 34 years in public education, and I've enjoyed pretty much every minute of it. We've been able to do great things together. I think that public education is the most important institution to any community, any state, and absolutely for this country. And the colleagues I'm here with today, and considering you those colleagues as well, we have such a fantastic state K-12 school system. I wish we could get the word out to more people, but the things going on are tremendous. And the great economy that we have in this state, definitely you have to draw a direct correlation to our K-12 system. So thank you for all your hard work and all the things that you do. I was hired right out of BYU to teach school in Richfield High School. And I moved down there. I'm from Heber City. I grew up in Heber City. And I moved down to Richfield, and I noticed that there was this phrase often used, the six-county phrase. And I'm stealing some thunder from one of my colleagues behind, but my wife and I wondered, what's this six-county stuff? Well, in Sevier County, and I'm sure someone's here that represents Sevier County and knows what I'm talking about. Instead of having a health department in the 6 surrounding counties, they have one health department, and they call it the 6 county. There's a 6 county government agency in Richfield, and I think that it's common for government agencies to band together to enjoy increased efficiencies and serve these rural areas better by combining forces. And that's certainly what the service centers do. And I've been a little surprised over the years that some of the things that have been called into question, even at our state legislature, as far as what are these service centers, what are they doing, and I think it's just a matter of education. But I can tell you that they're very, very important to our rural school districts. I know my own board member, my own representative, Mr. Kelly, represents Daggett County. It's one of our counties. It's one of our counties that's represented in the northeastern Utah Educational Service Center. And everybody should make at least one trip. Every educator should make one trip to Daggett County. They have 243 students. Bruce Northcott, their superintendent out there, his fingerprints of the last 30 years are all over that district. There's a concrete wall, a cinder block wall that needed put up a few years back, and the superintendent got out his wheelbarrow and his trowel, and he built that wall for the school district himself. And to visit these small districts, 243 students, that's just a large classroom in the Wasatch Front. It's so important that they have a service center. It's so important that they have support from the other districts. We meet monthly as a board. It's my privilege to be the chairman of the board this year, and we meet every month. We have 10 school districts and 5 charter schools, and lots of collaboration takes place in those meetings that go beyond what's listed on our slides here today. So I'll finish up. I've been known to take more time than I'm allotted, Chair, and as long as the chair's away from cutting off my mic, I'll keep going. But on this next slide, you can see all the services. I'm not going to read all of them to you. What I do want to read to you is the people that work in the News Education Center in the Heber Valley, which is where the home base is. We have a tech director. We have a network engineer. That's a shared position. We have instructional coaches. We have a crisis counselor. We have a tech trainer, an art specialist, a media specialist, a school psychologist that doubles also as a BCBA. And some of you are familiar with that term. I kind of know what it means, but I'm not sure what the letters stand for myself. The point is, we have these people that are so integral to the success of the 10 districts and the 5 charter schools in our area. And we brainstorm once a month on how we can continue to support them and better help them. So I'll just finish up with our service centers are an absolute lifeline for our rural districts. And I would ask for your continued support, and not only directly from you as a state board, but also as you converse with others and other policymakers around the state, that our service centers are held in high esteem and that they are supported, and in turn our rural districts are properly supported. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please, if the two of you will state your name and who you represent, and we'll keep going.
President of the board for the Southeast Service Center. I don't know if they can both be on, but.
You're on.
Okay. And my name is John Hughes. I'm the Executive Director of the Southeast Education Service Center.
It's my pleasure today to represent the Southeast Center. We represent 21% of the state, which is huge. So we have a lot of geographical issues that we've been able to tackle by being so well coordinated and working so hard together. We have 4 districts and 2 charter schools. I happen to be the chair this year. I've been elected by my other cohorts, and I am a chair of a charter school. So we are the second oldest charter school in Utah. We've been a part of this organization for quite a long time. It's my pleasure to work with John, our new director. I think we're a pretty good team at this point. We've been able to pull off some really amazing things in the last 6 months. We have a brand new makerspace lab that schools will start being able to come to, that John and his staff have teamed with AmeriCorps to staff it. So we have some really exciting things happening in our area. We work a lot with the Navajo tribe. So we spend a lot of times in their schools, and we've done some pretty culturally sensitive trainings with them and taking care of their teachers and helping them to be able to pass the appel process and do some of the other things that they need to do to be able to serve that end of our state. So we are, very happy to be here. We have the exact same presentation everyone else does. I think some of the same things are happening at RESA's, which is great. We have, every one of us have a little bit different of approach. Ours is, we travel quite a bit to each other because it is such a distance for all of us to travel. We have a very active board who spend a lot of time helping John and helping all their staff. We, as the RESA Center staff, they've been able to get into pretty much all of our schools this year, particularly the tech people come and they represent us on all of the state boards, and then he's able to come back and keep us all pretty up to date on all the stuff, because it's a lot for all of us in that end of the state to keep up with. So we've been pretty impressed with their staff this year. So that's our presentation. Thank you. Do you have any questions for us?
Any questions?
We do have a question from Member Bogus.
Thank you, sir. With the chair's discretion, I think I have 3 questions. You used the language come to versus go to. Are kids missing school to come to the SU?
Do you want me to?
No, they won't miss school. They're either, right now we haven't set anything up. We're still working on it, but in coordination, there's after-school programs that can bring students and.
So when we set up the makerspace, we worked with AmeriCorps to.
Oh, it's on. Sorry. It was red still.
Yep. What we did is when I was applying for the grant, I reached out to the superintendents who make up my board, and I said, here's what we would like to do. We're housed in Price, so Carbon and Emery counties would have access easily to it, but we also purchased materials that would be easily portable that we could then take to our other 2 districts that are a little bit further away from the service center itself. So our goal is to have equitable services. We have a integration specialist that lives in our southern region and is able to service those districts easily, and a tech that lives in our northern half that is able to also service. So we're really looking at how do we equitably ensure all districts have the support and staff. We have an early learning coach in the south and one in the north part of our region, so that we're providing equitable services to those districts.
Okay, and I have one other question. So I believe it's slide 7. It says examples of services provided, and it says endorsements and certifications. Are you training people in these endorsements, or does your staff have these endorsements in order to deliver services?
So currently, right now, we are offering an ESL endorsement through the Service Center. We work in coordination with SUU. And then I have teachers that actually work in the CUES region, but they work in several of our regions, but they're certified teachers in those programs, and they teach those classes. And then the endorsement is awarded through SUU or UVU, whichever institution we're working with. So they do get the endorsement through USBE. It's the USBE endorsement, but we provide the coursework for them through the colleges to be able to do that.
Okay, and then do you have thoughts on the certifications?
So our service center does not, there are other service centers that do offer certifications. Ours, that we only offer that, the ESL endorsement is currently the only one we're offering through our service center.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you both. Thank you all
Thank
for
you.
being here. Thanks for being patient with us. Okay, just push those buttons. Again, if you'll state your name and who you represent, that'd be helpful.
Good afternoon. My name is Joby Wright. I'm the Executive Director of SEDC, which is the Southwest Education Development Center.
And I'm David Long. I'm the superintendent of the Beaver County School District, Beaver County being the best kept secret in Utah. And I can't tell you why. Lots of reasons. Anyways. And currently serving as the president of the SEDC board. To picture what we represent and what SEDC services, think everything west of the Colorado River to the state line, state border, and everything south of Millard County to the state line. And so that's the kind of area we're talking about. We have larger school districts in that boundary. We have smaller school districts in that boundary. My school district's about the size of my elementary school when I was a principal way back in the day. But that said, without SEDC, I don't have a cabinet. I don't have an assistant superintendent. I don't have a tech department. I have SEDC. And so whether it's behavioral health needs, whether it's technical needs, whether it's endorsement and licensing needs, professional learning needs in the district, SEDC is my first stop for those things. And what you have with the service centers, in my opinion, is the most cooperative and collaborative education agencies in the entire state of Utah. We would do well if we all function like the service centers do together. You just had a question about endorsements for one of the service centers. Well, we send our teachers to any of the service centers for whatever endorsements they need. So you might have on the one service center doing ESL endorsements, but I can send my teachers to that service center for those endorsements as well. We have endorsements through our service center. I have a library specialist. I would not be able to keep up with the instructional materials policy without the SEDC librarian watching over that and alerting us when we have a book in our libraries that needs to be removed or things that need to be paid attention to. So lots of those kinds of things happening. Any technical issue we have gets addressed. And just a quick story on this. We were having trouble having a secure way to send student records. And we have standards we have to meet when we send a student record. So to electronically send a student records, no small endeavor. And the system that we had for doing that broke. And for month after month, we couldn't get that fixed. It was one call to the service center. The tech, who has a background in cybersecurity, wrote a program for us, put that together, and now we have a very simple way we can email data privately, and we know it's not going to get hacked in the sending of that email, and we can send student records and other information that we need to do. That's just one small example of many, many of the services that happen through our regional service centers.
Just real quick, one quick comment mentioned about endorsements. Superintendent Long mentioned how they're open. They are open statewide. So all of the endorsements that you see, we have teachers participating from Cache County. We have teachers participating from charter schools along the Wasatch Front. All of our endorsements are open to all teachers across the state. We provide them using Canvas and using Zoom, so they can attend. They don't have to travel. They can attend from their home or from their home school. And so we try to provide as many services for all educators as possible.
And we run a great conference in the summer too.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Appreciate that. Next group. Okay.
I'm Kobe Willis. I'm the superintendent of Paiute County School District. Paiute County is an awful place. You should never go there. Everyone's working all the time. Everyone's out on work business, school business, and so yeah, you don't need to worry about that. But we're in the Central Utah Educational Services region. There's 7 school districts in ours. Rather than listing off all of the services that our service center provides with our 2 slides here, we just decided to go a little bit more in depth into just 2 of what we did. And we wanted to, the legislatures asked at times to see examples of local ideas, collaborations within the service centers that we did on our own. And so these 2 positions that we're highlighting are positions that we created in our region that was a local need, and we're contributing 100% to create these positions. So the computer repair technician that we have in the CUES region, our whole region uses Apple devices, and for those devices, if we want to repair them, we can either get a technician locally, we can buy warranties on all of them, or we can do what we've done with getting a technician for the entire region. Obviously, if we got a warranty for all of those devices, it's over $500,000 as shown on the slide there. And if we tried to hire a technician in all 7 districts, it would obviously be substantially more. And so we save over $500,000 a year by having a local repair technician in that regional office. Makes it so that a service can be provided that wouldn't be able to be provided otherwise in our tiny districts. Even though we're connected by land, our little districts can feel like they are an island, and the service centers help us feel like we are connected to the rest of the world. The second example that we have on there is our school psychologist. There's no one with a school psychology degree in Paiute County. The word doctor is something you just don't hear in Paiute County. There's no one with doctorate degrees really there. And there's also not tennis courts, golf courses, or anything like that either. And so a school psychologist services in Paiute County would be really difficult to get if we weren't able to participate in a consortium to get those. And so Cheryl provides those services for the entire region, and it's a great benefit to all of us because most of the districts couldn't get a psychologist or couldn't justify the expense of a full-time psychologist individually. So those are just a couple of the services. Oh, and I just wanted to, we wanted to make sure we said thank you. We were able to get Cheryl in part with help with a grant through USBE to get her the degree, to get her licensed so that we could have a psychologist. Even doing it as a whole region, still getting someone licensed in our rural area was still kind of a challenge. And so we are grateful that USBE helped us get that done. And then I think we would open it to questions. So.
Any questions? We have Member Lear and then Vice Chair Wood.
And I don't really have a question, except you guys stole my thunder, because I think this is the best example of what RESAs can do, what regional services centers can do. I'm a city girl, born and raised in Salt Lake, so I wasn't super familiar until I started working with the outlying regional service centers. And this example of, especially the part was they came up with the idea, and then they couldn't, still, as I recall the story, I'm probably embellishing a bit, but they couldn't find even anybody who'd take the job, so you had to recruit somebody who you help pay her tuition. And talk about a good grow your own example. You then created the position, and you all benefited. And I wish you could do that, 10 times. And because it brings people into the system, the public education system, plus it benefits you. And I could not be a bigger fan of regional service centers. I think you're so efficient, given your size and your limited resources. So thank you for the work you do.
Chair, if I may.
Sure.
Jason Straight, Director, Central Utah Educational Services. Just to address Board Member Lear, this has been so important, the psychologist program that USBE has ran through BYU. We did not have a single school psychologist in the entire Hughes region at the time that the program started. We were able to, and we advertised and we tried multiple times to bring a school psychologist in. We just couldn't. People want to stay where they're at. We recruited Cheryl, hired her, and she's been in the position now for, I want to say, 7-8 years. And North Sanpete School District has been able to apply to the program. They now have a school psychologist. South Sanpete has applied. They now have a school psychologist. Each of the districts now have been applying and sending people that they have recruited in their communities that want to be part of their community. And because it is an online program, those school districts now have school psychologists. Now Cheryl, she heads up all the testing and oversees the education evaluators, and we purchase all the testing protocols, all of those items for the entire region, allowing these other school psychologists to do the work in PBIS, MTSS, and behaviors and those types of things. So it has been a very vital, our partnership with USBE.
Thank you. We have Vice Chair Wood, Superintendent Dixon, and Member Davis.
I also don't have a question. I just wanted to thank you for coming and thank you to see the partnership between our public, the traditional districts and the charter schools, I think is amazing. And I was talking to a former board member who served in Member Green's area, and she said that your meetings were the best meetings she attended ever, to have you all in one place. She said it was so easy to listen, to learn, to understand your needs, and to better represent you through those meetings. So I'm kind of jealous that there's like one meeting that you're all together. So thank you.
They are good meetings, Vice Chair Wood. I've attended a few of those. So as a rural gal, you know that this is something I'll get in a boxing ring for. I'll make sure that Deputy Jones is there as my backup, always, if I get in a boxing ring. But I just value the Reeses so much, and having visited the schools all over the state and knowing how you make a difference is just something I will advocate for always. I do have both a comment and a question. So I think one of the comments I have is that you each have something that's really unique to your RESA. And I want to back up, Chair Hymas, if I may, and because I think we have so many board members that might be new since this happened. They used to be regional service centers. And so the 4 directors came to us, and how long ago was that, Jason?
That would have
7
been
7 years ago?
2018 with Senator Hilliard and Representative Last.
Okay, so
Yep.
2018, we worked with the board to turn the centers into agencies, and that might seem like a subtle thing, but at the time, a regional service center, they were completely reliant via code on getting just a line item, and it made it really tricky when the board received money for grants to put them into centers. It wasn't like us being able to disperse money like we do to schools. We could not disperse money to agencies. So now when we get a grant, we actually have the ability in turning them into agencies, regional education service agencies in code. We can direct money to an agency and have the agency be the fiscal agent or work in collaboration with their board of all of the schools that they serve, to not only disperse funds, but be a part of initiatives. So Deputy Jones and I were so happy to be a part of that. We worked really hard to make that happen. So that was a not so subtle shift 8 years ago that enables us to do some things we can do today. So I wanted to make sure that you all as a board were aware of the difference between that if you hear about centers or BOCES or things from all over the country. So comment about you each have something unique in addition to all the things that you do. I would just ask that maybe next time you come back or in one of those awesome meetings that Vice Chair Wood talked about, I would challenge you to think about and bring forward a list for the board of each one of you, if there's something you've been talking about that you think collectively could enhance outcomes for students. Like, how could we improve academics and opportunities if we were able to do this as a RISA with our collaborating districts and charters. I would love to know that. I think the board would love to know that, and maybe with that focus, if it's a policy shift or, we can all use more money, but especially if there's like a policy shift or a program you want the board to advocate for, discussing that in one of those collaborative meetings, I think the board would be really open to that, because you come and report awesome things, but you never really say, here's something that we'd like to see happen, but here's a barrier.
I can give
Is that
you
fair?
one right now. But we've all been working on this right now, is that pre-K through third grade early learning coaches. And one thing that may happen, depending on what public ed appropriations does, is the professional learning grants that we're receiving some base funding to run those positions, and then also our local boards are going to be supporting those positions through local funds. So it was meant to be a 50-50. It looks like those funds are going to be swept, and that the professional learning grants will go away. And so RISAs will really have a hard choice to make. Do the local LEAs fund the entire amount, or are we going to lose that position? So we've worked with USBE on the early learning coaches over multiple sessions, multiple times. We thought we had a solution, and it looks like maybe those professional learning grants might be rolled and disappeared. So if we could work with the board to find a way for those to continue, that would be very important for us, because those early learning coaches have had a dramatic effect on our school districts and the schools that they're in, working with teachers, providing coaching and learning.
Thank you. Member Davis.
Thank you for all the good work you did. I was here in 2018, and all of you were very patient with me trying to wrap my head around all of this and the major shift. And I look back and I think, oh man, they were so patient with my millions of questions. I also just want to say for the public, when you've said it a couple of times, you really needed to get a school psychologist. I just want to make sure people know school psychologists spend the majority of their time doing legally mandatory testing for special education. So a parent signs a permission to evaluate, and by law, they have 60 days to get that done, and that involves, processing testing and all kinds of testing like that. It's not like an optional go talk to a school psychologist when you have a bad day thing. I mean, they are busy and they have to get it done. So that was really crucial that you were able to fill that position and help those parents get that testing done when requested in a legally time-sensitive way.
Thank you. And thank you to not only the two of you, but all of the RISA representatives who could make it to our board meeting today. We truly appreciate your work and all that you do for our schools, both district and charter. So thank you. One final comment?
Just one final comment. We, as the four RISAs and the Utah Rural Schools Association, would like to thank the board and Superintendent Dixon and her leadership team for the support that you've always shown to our conference that we annually hold in July. And I know that most of you have been to that conference, and we appreciate it, and we'll invite you again. But we really appreciate your support in hosting and running that conference.
Thank you. The conference, yeah, let's give them applause. Sorry. I was going to say the conference was great unless you're sandwiched between Jim and Brent at a dinner, and then I'm like, I got to get out of here. Yeah, so, fix that and I'll be back. Okay. Board members, Deputy Jones, can we take 10 minutes?
You can take as long as you want. So nothing clears the room faster than you saying Scott's going to give the monthly budget report. So
Can you be done by the time we get back?
Yeah, I want to thank my RISA friends for staying around for the monthly budget report too. So thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. Board members, we'll take 10 minutes. We'll be back. Thank you. Standards and assessment. And so, Deputy Superintendent Jones, if you will give us our information item. That would be great.
We're about halfway through the year, halfway through fiscal year 25, and we'll start closure activities within the next 60 days for FY 25. Subject to any questions or concerns, at your direction, Chair, I can move to the discretionary funds report.
Looks like we have a comment from Member Bogus.
Some of my constituents don't seem to understand that sometimes our fiscal might differ from other fiscals. Could you just put it out there on the public record what our fiscal year is?
Our fiscal year, our current fiscal year right now is state fiscal year 2025. That is different than the federal fiscal year or the annual calendar year. The federal fiscal year runs from October 1st of every year till September 30th. The calendar year from January 1st to December 31st. The state of Utah runs their fiscal year from the state fiscal year from July 1st to June 30th. We are currently in state fiscal year 2025. That is the basis of my report, and I appreciate the question from Board Member Bogus. Does that answer her question, sir?
We got the head nod that it does. So let's proceed to the next item.
The next item, sir, at your direction is the discretionary funds report. These are funds that result as part of the process. That is year-end close. If you could go to the report itself, I orient board members to the upper right-hand corner, which is your available balances. The board has done an excellent job of prioritizing spending, not just to spend money, but for viable projects or, set-asides, contingency funds, those types of things. They're all well within the Money Management Act and things. So, excellent there. There's been questions from board members on availability of funds for particular projects. As we move through the year and we get closer to year-end close, that's where it becomes more clear on perhaps we overestimated on a particular project. So money will likely free up at some point, right? But that we typically wait and do the full update to the balances after year-end close activities are completed. I just do want to allow board members and the public to hover or look at that upper right-hand corner for availability of funds in case you have ideas on, particular projects or things. There is still some funding left, but always we have to look at whether or not those funds could be used allowably for whatever project or idea a particular board member may have. If you look at the full body, if you'll expand out and just look at the full body, the main portion of the report tracks each individual project that the board has approved, the source of funding, i.e. state funds, federal mineral release, and expenditures to date on those particular projects. Subject to any questions or concerns, that completes the discretionary funds report and my overall update to the board and to the public on the fiduciary position of the Utah State Board of Education, Chair Hymas.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for your brevity as well. We do have a question by Member Lear.
Okay.
And this is just remind me kind of questions.
Through
First
the
of
chair.
all, is that okay? And may I speak to Scott? Is that okay?
Please speak to Scott, yes.
Thank you. I'm trying to remember, is the success sequence in the girls and boys in Utah or the family studies research?
They're all each individual projects, Chair Hymas. Is that the question, or?
I'm just wondering where
where they are in the process?
If we took that out of the discretionary funds.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the answer is yes.
Yeah, I'm just like I said, refreshing my recollection.
Right.
And the second question I had is it the discretionary funds that are used to pay for the board member compensation? Is that right? Also, no.
No,
Deborah's
ma'am.
shaking her head.
No, ma'am. Through the chair.
Okay. And that comes from.
From your budget, from your actual budget. Discretionary funds are carry forward funds as a result of year-end close activities.
Okay.
They are one-time in nature. Your funding for your payroll / the question asking, the board member Lear is asking through the chair, is sustained by your ongoing budget, which is a separate fund from what we call the discretionary fund.
And so, reflecting back to your comment about the fiscal year.
Yes.
These will need to be spent by June 30th. Is that right?
Chair, through you for her question. The answer is these are what are called non-lapsing funds. So technically, no, there's not a requirement per se. However, it is in the best fiduciary interest to execute the funds that have been provided to us, that have been identified as excess, and to do so within that fiscal year. So.
Thank you for those reminders.
Yes,
That's
yes,
really
ma'am.
helpful.
No, I appreciate the question. These are good.
Thank
Good
you.
for the public too.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Chair Hymas. That concludes, sir. Unless there's any other questions.
I think that's it.